Perfect. I already see people.
All
4 people
right.
already. Nice. Let's see. I think we go here. Karen Smith. Thanks, guys, for joining. All right. It's filling up fast.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to give everyone a few minutes to start.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
All right. So
where's everyone from? If you can just tell us in the chat. See Eduardo. Hi, Eduardo.
Sweden. Nice. Cool.
Very cool.
Panama.
Nice. Botswana. Very cool.
Cool.
We're here in Barcelona.
Spain. Ole, yes.
South Africa, we're living in Ukraine. Very cool.
Awesome.
Nice. We'll just give it 1 or 2 more minutes.
And let's have and then we start, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're both here in the Barcelona office.
Ecuador. Nice. Very nice.
Perfect. Okay, so shall we go ahead and start?
Yeah.
Or should we wait another minute? What do you think?
Let's give it 1 more minute.
Hungry. Very cool. Perfect.
Yeah, so let's we're gonna start off with the design section.
Yeah, exactly.
And then move on to giving a live presentation with the lead gen template. So I think that's very cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. All right, so I think we can go ahead and get started. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Perfect.
Give it a go.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. We'll go here, share. Okay, perfect. I think everyone can see my screen, right? Yeah, cool. All right, so first of all, thanks everyone for coming. We're super excited. Just a couple of things before we get started. The first one is that this will be recorded. So if you need to leave early for whatever reason, don't worry, you can always go back and watch the recording. The second thing is that everything is documented. So I would recommend definitely having a look at our help docs because everything we'll be talking about today is already documented. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so there's that. All right. So first of all, I'm Abby. I'm part of the technical support team, and I deal with most of the CSS questions. So if you have an issue with CSS, I'll probably be the one who handles your tickets.
All right, I'm Stephanie, and I'm from the customer support team, and I'm very happy to be in this webinar, and I'm excited to start.
Perfect.
Let's get started.
So here's how the workshop will be structured. Well, workshop webinar. So first, Steph will go over the basic design section, and she'll just show you how to change the basic design elements in the bot. And then I'll go over CSS in Landbot, not a whole lot because it's limitless, but just the basics of how to use CSS in Landbot and some tricks. And then later we'll both do kind of a live template example. So we have some CSS customizations that we've built basically for you to just copy and paste into your bot. And then Steph will do that in live time. That way, if she has any questions, which I'm sure you will,
absolutely,
I'll go ahead and answer them in live time. And then we'll have a space at the end for a Q&A. So if you have any questions during the meeting, just go ahead and ask us in Q&A. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll go over that.
Yep, sounds great.
Perfect. All right, so Steph, you want to get started?
Yes, let's go and do this. All right. So I already have a bot design, or not design, but built here in the bot builder. I started off with the welcome message. So that way, when we get to the design section, it's going to be easier to visualize, you know, how the message block works and the buttons and the multi-question, which would be the form.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, so let's get to it. We go to the design section and we're going to start off with the design templates, which are predefined templates that we already have, which are very cool because it's something that maybe after building the bot, you know, maybe you don't want to spend a lot of time designing your bot, but there's something very simple and quick and you can just choose from them. So we have a variety of them that you can choose from. You can preview them, which is super cool that you can have a look at them directly. And just one thing to keep in mind is that once applied, let's do the test. So if we apply, we're going to get a pop-up saying like, if you have any customizations already in your bot, on the design section, it's going to override it. So these are not CSS customizations. This is actually from the design section. So let's say that before going into the template, the bot templates, I go into the design section and I want my buttons to be squared.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I leave them as squared and I choose a template, then it's going to take into account the one from the template. So it's going to be overwritten.
Yeah. And what about if I say in CSS, I want my button squared, will it override that as well? Or?
No, that won't be overwritten. So that the CSS will stay there. So that's something to take into account. But you can always have a look at the designs and, choose from any of them.
And how do you remove the templates?
You can't remove the template. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that once you apply it, the template's going to be there, but the only thing that you'll be able to do is like go into the design section. So let's say we choose this template and maybe I don't like the color. So we can go ahead and, change the background color, maybe change the header color or make something within the design section, but removing the template itself, it's not possible.
But I can switch from one template to another.
Yes, absolutely. So if you don't like this one, let's say you choose this one, and you just apply it.
Okay, great.
So that's something cool.
Perfect.
So moving on to the general and background and fonts. So this is something cool that we really don't take into account, because when we're building our bot, we just want to, keep it simple and just, go over the design section, but we don't take really into account the fonts, right?
Yeah.
So we do have some of the fonts here that we can choose from, which is pretty cool, because maybe you want your bot to be very robotic, and I would consider that the Roboto.
It's probably
yes. So that's something very cool.
Perfect.
And we do have, not many, but I believe we can bring over some fonts, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the same way you would import fonts into your regular web page, you import it into the bot.
Oh, nice.
So you have basically import, and then the only thing is that it has to be publicly hosted.
Okay.
So you can use any of Google fonts or any publicly hosted fonts, and then you just use the import URL in the CSS section, and you import it to all of the elements in your bot.
Oh, nice. So that would be in the CSS section in the design, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a couple of articles about that, so you should go look at them.
Nice. Definitely. Yes.
And you can also, just one thing, you can also apply them to just specific parts of the elements.
Oh, nice.
So for example, you want the message bubble only to have this font, you can just import it inside of the message bubble.
Oh, okay. So that like for instance here, it would be for the whole bot, right?
Yeah.
So if you just want a part of the bot to be, some other font family, you can use that, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's super nice. Yeah. Very cool. And then the next thing would be the font size. So you can change the font here directly, which is pretty cool. All right, and then moving on to the background, here, if you don't want to choose from any of the templates that we have and you want to do your own design or something, you can choose a solid color, which here from the color picker, you'll be able to choose whatever color you wish to do.
Yeah.
We also have the gradient colors, which is pretty cool, I think. That you can start off with a color and then with another color. For instance, here I started off with this color, I'm not sure, but it's a very dark green. And then we ended up with this kind of turquoise-ish color. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, if you don't want any of the colors, you don't want them to be any, colorful or anything, you can add your own image, your background image. So let's say, we have two options,
why do we have two options?
Because one would be for the background image, which would be for the bot itself, but also for your phone. So let's say your image for the bot or desktop view, you just want one image to show. But then in your mobile, you want another image to show.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which is cool, because sometimes, you might have a background that maybe it doesn't look good on the phone and maybe only looks good on a desktop. So I think that's a very cool thing to do. But something to keep in mind. So let's say you add just the background image to, the first one here.
Yeah.
And then if you look at in the phone, it's going to be the default.
Which is
background.
the one that's here, right?
Yes,
on the
it
screen?
would show
Okay.
this one.
Mhm.
And then this is something cool at the end that says the background image color mask, which is something I was talking to you about last time when I was building a bot, where I used one of my own pictures.
Yeah.
And I uploaded it, but it was too light, it was too bright.
Maybe you couldn't see the font.
Yes, and it was too bright, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work out. But then I looked at this, and I was like, wow, I changed, the color to be a little bit darker, so it made the picture darker.
Okay, so it's like an overlay.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
So this is something cool to consider, and it's like already there. We don't have to use CSS or anything, or use any other go to any other website and change your background.
Oh yeah, that's much easier than changing the opacity with
exactly.
CSS.
Yes, absolutely.
So and what about the video? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. The video. Yes, we have some default videos here for your background that you can choose from, which are very cool. I think that when you use videos, it attracts, someone's attention. So you can use from, the default ones that we have here, but you can also use a custom one, which you would have to make sure that it's MP4 and it has to be publicly hosted somewhere.
Okay. Got it.
So that way it can, you can use it for Landbot.
Okay.
And also you can use the color mask, which is the same thing I mentioned before with the picture. So let's say your video is too bright or too dark, you can lighten up or make it a little bit darker.
And one thing I would recommend when using all of these background type options is maybe to put the header color to transparent. That way it doesn't break up the bot so much and it's more fluid,
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. And we have this documented, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Everything's documented.
All right. And then and if you don't want anything, of course, you can just hide.
Yeah, but that will be white. It's not transparent.
Yes, this is white. Yes, absolutely. Cool. So now moving on to the chat avatar and elements. So here is the message bubbles. So for instance, you want to make it squared, circular like, or more of a chat looking, or if you don't want anything. And this just to make sure that you understand it, this is for the message bubble. So let's say, the first message bubble would be the welcome message in my case.
Yeah.
And then, let's say I want them rounded. So that would be that. And then you can change the background color for the messages. And in my case, I leave them as white. And then also something to consider is that when using, changing the text, make sure that you do realize that you're using a background color, that is, you're not going to use the same background color as your text.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because it's going to be confusing. Yeah. It's a common mistake. And then you can use change the user's message background, which would be, for example, let's say I choose, these are the user messages backgrounds once you click on it. So let's say I click on this one. It has this color. I'm not sure what color that is.
It's like a beige. I can't see it.
It's like a red opaque type. Yeah. Okay, so let's say I want it to be, let's do blue.
Much better.
So you see it changes the color directly. And of course, you can also change the message text.
Perfect.
Okay. And then moving on to the buttons and forms. So the buttons, you can actually change the border radius for the buttons, which is something cool that you can do it directly from the design section without using any CSS or anything. Nice. So for instance, these are my buttons. And I want them to be the border radius to be a little bit more round. So I can just drag this to the right and it makes it more round.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. And then you for the buttons, you can change the buttons border, which would be the outside.
Okay.
For instance, here. It looks very nice. Yeah. And then of course, same here, you can change the background and the buttons text.
Perfect.
And then moving on to the forms, I do have a form here, which I think it's pretty cool. that you can actually, besides from visualizing on, on here on the screen, that you can see how your form is going to look while designing it. Yeah. So here for the text area background, it's black. So let's say I want it white, right?
Yeah.
We can also use the border, the text area border, which is when you
hover over it.
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
So that's I think that's pretty cool because it's like it's there.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then of course here again, as I mentioned, it's something to take into account that make sure you change the text color and it's not the same color as the background.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the help text, you can change the color. This would be actually, let's change it so that we can visualize it.
Yeah. What is the help text?
The help text would be like, for instance, you see the back button.
Okay.
And then of course, the timestamp. Okay. Yes. And also like if you have a picture choice, you know how it has the next, that would change as well. So it's everything within the help text.
Perfect.
So that's pretty cool.
And then if you want to remove the message date, you can do that with CSS.
Okay. Yes. Easy. And moving on to the pick an avatar for your bot. So this would be the avatar showing on your actual bot. So in this case, it's the Landbot logo, but we also have a variety that you can choose from. Let's say you don't want any of the ones we have, you can actually upload your own logo.
I think most people do that, right?
Yes, especially if you do have, your own logo, or if you just want to, don't like any of the ones we have here, you can use an image. And it's pretty cool because after you make it, let's say you can keep it original. Well, right now you won't be able to see it because this is the default without a background. Yeah. So you can't really see it, but you can round it or you can make it squared. Okay. So that's super cool.
Yeah, that's nice because usually the images when they come in, they're like a weird shape.
Yes.
So it's cool to have them uniform.
Yes, definitely.
Nice.
And then at the bottom, you'll be able to change the size. So this is something that I consider super useful because you don't have to use CSS. It's just right there directly. Yeah. And it's something that,
Very cool.
Yes. And then we're going to the layout, header, and launcher. Here, you'll be able to change the header, which is, the logo text showing up here, the top. In my case, we have the Landbot text. And you can also change the logo image, which would be here. And if you don't want an image, you
can just delete it.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And you can upload your own image as well.
Okay. And what if you just want an image and you don't want anything else?
Yes, you can do that as well. You just erase the logo text. And here at the bottom, we have the tagline, which is start the conversation, that you can see here at the bottom as well.
There's actually a really cool workaround for the tagline that you can make a progress bar in the bot.
Oh, nice.
That's for another day.
Okay.
Super cool.
All right. And then we can also change the background color for the top bar. So that would be here. Let's show an example, which is very cool, I think. And then we also have the line separator. We can, if we enable this, you'll be able to choose a color. Okay. Let's say you don't want the black default one and you want a blue one, then you can use that.
I think I prefer it without the line separator. It looks better.
Yeah. I guess it's depends on the choice, and how the bot, how you want the design to be. And another thing is that obviously you can change the text color at the top, which is very cool. Nice. And then moving on to the bubble launcher, the icon.
What is this exactly?
This is the widget that's going to be shown in when you embed your bot.
Okay. So it's what the user clicks on, right?
Exactly. Yes. Okay. So you have two options. You can use the bubble and the icon. Okay. I think that it's, well, I guess it depends on the people's choices. Whether they want the bubble to be there or just the icon itself. But I always think that it's better to keep the icon because it makes it, a little bigger. And plus, something to consider is that, for example, if somebody has their website in blue and let's say their logo is blue as well, so you can have like a little bit of background in the back. That way,
to break up the colors
exactly. Yes. So that's something something cool.
Oh, and also if you want to show, you can, if you remove this, you can add an image, and you can also add a GIF, which is like a really fun, cool interactive
yes,
thing.
definitely. I think that's a very it's just like the video background, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That it gets your
grabs the
attention. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So now moving on to the custom code, styles, and script.
Right.
All
That
right,
would be
Abby.
me. Okay. All right. So first, we're just gonna, this section is just for the design inside of the bot. So if you want to change the design of something outside of the bot, like the size of the chat or the widget, we'll do that somewhere else. And actually, I'll show you how to do that later.
Okay.
But the first thing, so we're only going to work in this little box that says add CSS. The first thing I want to do is show you where to find all of the classes.
Okay.
So we'll start with going to Landbot help. I'm going to close this because it's in my way. And we're just going to go to for developers and designers. And then CSS and design customizations. If you're new to CSS, I recommend reading this Getting Started guide, because it's basically what we cover in this webinar, but also I think it will help people out. So in the component CSS library, this is where you find most of the classes, and they're divided up by the elements. So I also recommend reading the identify block CSS, because if you want to change just one specific block, you'll need to know this.
Right.
So it's important. But if you can't find the classes here, or maybe you just don't want to find the classes here, then I will show you how to find them. We'll just go to share with a link. We'll open that. And then let's say we want to find the classes for this. We don't know the name. So we'll just right click. We'll select inspect. All right, we'll go to the selector and we'll just hover over the element.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll see the classes. So this is just the class for the paragraph, for example. If we hover over the whole button, we'll see the button class. And you'll see here, there are kind of two random number classes. Don't use those, because those are randomly generated. So a lot of people use them and then they don't understand why they're not working.
Okay.
It's because they're random. So they won't change every time, but maybe every 4 or 5 times. So it's best just to use the ones that say message bubble or input button, all of that.
The ones that make sense, right?
The ones that make sense. Exactly. So I'll just select message bubble, because that's what we want to change. We can go back here to design. Okay, and then I'll just put the dot, the class name, the 2 curly brackets, and then inside I'll put my attribute. So let's say I want the background color to be beige. And there we go.
Ooh, nice.
And this will change all of the message bubbles in the whole bot.
Okay.
So let's say we just want to change the first message bubble. We'll go to the node, which is all of this block is one node. This is another node, this is another node, and this is another node. So if we only want to change this node, we'll right click it again. We'll copy the reference. And this references this whole block. So let's go back to design. And again, this is documented, so I recommend reading it. But basically the syntax is squared brackets, data block equals, in parentheses, you'll put the node reference. And then we have to say which node we want to select. So in this case, I want to select the first node. Since it's 0 index, the first node will be 0. And then I need a space here. And you'll see that only that node is referenced. So if I want to select, let's say, it depends on the order in which you add them.
Right.
So maybe if you've added a bunch and you deleted some, they could be a little mixed up. I've seen people who have had like 30 and they deleted them. So it was impossible to find, but let's say 3, 2. So you'll see this should be 1, but instead it's 2. It's because I added this one first.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So I know it's confusing for some people, but let's say, all right, let's say we want to show 2. So we'll just put a comma here, a space, and then we'll add the other one, which in our case will be 0. And then that way we're selecting 2.
Right.
And then let's say we want to change instead of this, we want to change the input buttons. So we'll go here and we'll change this class to the input button class. And you'll notice it doesn't change.
Right.
That's because it already has an attribute applied to it. So in that case, we'd put an importance.
Oh,
So we'll add it
okay.
here. In that way it changes.
Okay. So you overwrite.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if I want to change, for example, like 1 or 2 of these buttons, there's a trick with nth child. And then I just select, for example, I can select odd, and it will
Oh.
apply to all of the odd elements.
Okay, so if you put even, it would apply to them?
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh,
let's try.
okay.
Exactly.
Nice.
So let's say, for example, I want to make I want the height to be bigger. So I'll say height is 300 pixels. Obviously, that's not ideal, but let's just go along with it. So for desktop, I mean, it's not great, but it's fine. You can see it okay. But I should test it in mobile. So to do that, I'm just going to publish it. I'm going to share with a link, open. And then I'll just right click again, press inspect. And here I have my devices. So I can check which device I see it in, and I can see how it looks. Yeah. So let's say I want to see it in an iPad. And then if, for example, I see it and it doesn't look good, I can only display it in, for example, I can only select these attributes in a screen with a minimum width of 500 pixels.
Okay.
So that means it would only apply to desktop. And to do that, I'll need to add a media query. So the syntax is @media screen, and here I put my attribute. So I want to say minimum width is 500 pixels. And then everything inside the curly brackets is what will be applied. So this you'll be able to see in desktop, but you won't be able to see it in a screen that's less than 500 pixels.
Ah, I get it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's important to check always with the telephone first, just to make sure you can see it okay.
Okay.
And the last thing I want to share is I'll show the live chat. Let's see, how can I move this? Okay, there we go. So I want to show what you can edit outside of the bot.
Okay.
So we'll put our script here. And then where's the bubble? There it is. Okay, so let's say I want this on the left side of my screen. I'll add the class Landbot live chat. And here I'll say left 0 pixels, for example. And then it will go to the other side of the screen.
Nice. Yeah.
And
I like
if
that.
I add an importance, everything is fixed with important, basically. Then the live chat will also be on the left side of the screen.
Okay, so you're overwriting again.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And one thing that people have a lot of issues with is maybe they have a cookie banner at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then it kind of blocks the widget. So we can fix that with a margin. Let's just say we want a margin bottom of 20 pixels. And then it raises up.
Okay.
But it raises up here as well, but you can override that too. There's another class just for this one. Okay. You can say margin bottom 0 pixels.
Oh, nice.
And that fixes it. So yeah, I think that's all of the CSS. I mean, it could go on forever, but I think that's all we have time for today. So let's just take a look at what we're gonna do. Okay. So Steph, you're going to copy the template, right? In live time?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look at the template that she's gonna copy. A lot of people ask us for kind of a form template. So we built this. Let me reload it. All right, that's it. Okay, so we made this that's kind of form-like, and basically we've made the elements with a lot of spacing. So they kind of move each other out of the screen.
Right.
So let's see. And then it goes on and on. So ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's give it a go.
I'll give you the screen and go for it.
All right.
I think you're out of the.
Let's go to the bot. So I already have the bot here.
Okay.
I created it. So basically I'm asking, well, we start off with the walkout. We ask the first question, which is the name. Then we use the buttons block, and then the email, and the last one would be the message block.
Okay.
So we are going to start off with
Yes. Okay.
all
So the
right.
idea is basically that you can just copy and paste this into your website
Right.
or into your blog.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with here. Yes.
Okay.
All right, so let's give it a go, and you rate me after.
Okay. I'll give you a
Perfect.
fair score.
All right.
So this first part, it's for the background, the body, and the header.
Okay.
So basically what we're doing here is we're adding spacing between each element, and that kind of gives it the effect of pushing it out of the screen. So that
Okay.
way you see one element at a time.
Perfect. So let's start off with this. So we already copied, now we paste it.
Okay. And don't worry if it looks weird. I mean,
Okay.
we'll overwrite it later.
Perfect.
It will start looking normal.
All right, and then this would be the welcome message and button, right?
Yes. And if you see these data blocks for this specific node, you don't have to change them because
Okay.
the welcome message, the reference will always be welcome.
All right.
So don't worry about that one.
So let's do that.
That's
Okay.
good.
Let's apply.
Perfect. It's starting to look good.
And then here it's for the input questions.
Yeah, and you'll see these don't have node references because
Right.
these are going to be applied to all of the input questions.
Okay.
Email, everything.
And we do the same thing. All right.
Perfect.
Oh, it's looking good.
And I would actually, can you remove the avatar? It's kind of annoying me.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll
Yes,
remove
much
it.
better.
All right. So so we got that.
Mhm.
And now it's basic input questions.
Yes. So these, you do have to copy the node reference.
Okay.
And then you paste it here.
And this would be for instance, in my example,
Mhm.
it's for the name block, right?
Yes. Yeah. So if you have multiple input questions, like
Right.
I did in my example, you can add them one after the other.
Okay.
Like I did.
So then I right click, copy
Copy
reference.
Yeah, and if you'll notice in this name block,
Sorry.
you can't add multiple nodes to it. You can't add multiple messages.
Okay.
So you don't have to add the _0
Ah, right.
because it's always just going to be one block.
Okay. All right. So we go here. I love how we can display the, make it bigger.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna paste it in.
Yeah.
in
So
these.
you'll just replace the ones that are already there with yours.
Okay.
And then if you don't remember where you're at, I recommend adding like comments like I did here on line 117, just so you keep track of where you're at and you don't get lost or confused.
All right, so that's
Let's
that.
apply that. All right.
And then what's next? The email input.
Yes, and this is the same as the other one in that you don't have to add _0 or anything, just because there's only one. And if you see on the bottom of the script, after you paste it, you just paste that. Yeah, so if you see here, you have the WebKit autofill. So these, when we know that the input type is email, there's some attributes that are automatically applied to it from the browser.
Oh, okay.
So I want to remove those. So I'm just going to add all of these WebKit autofills, all of these classes, just to remove the browser classes or change the browser classes. Just one thing to keep in mind is that a WebKit, I think it's supported by Chrome and Safari, but not by Firefox.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good to know that.
So we need to copy the node reference for the email, right?
Yes. So we do the right click, copy reference. We go back to the design, custom code. My favorite part when it expands.
But how do you remember where you're at? I can never remember. I have to add comments every time.
I think it's the visual, I guess.
Let's hope. If not, we'll have
well,
to
you
start
are
all over.
you are grading me, right? So I have to do good.
And if we have to start all over, you're not gonna get a good grade.
Oh my God. All right.
Are you sure?
Yes, because this one's for the first letter, which is the last block.
Got it.
Let's apply.
Okay.
Apply. And then let's go back, and then now it's the button question.
Yes. And I just actually maybe 30 minutes ago, I added some new stuff to this.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like a trial. We'll see.
All right, let's see. Now it's my turn to give you a score, right?
We'll see what happens.
All right, so
yeah, and then in this case of the buttons, it's one of those where you can add multiple elements to the same block.
right.
That's why you have to say _0.
Okay, just like you did it with the example, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so we do that.
All right, let's see if you remember where we are.
Of course, I remember.
So I guess everything with _0.
Yes. It's all about visual.
All right. And you'll see a lot of them have an important. This is the same reason we have to override some of them. It's kind of random, but
Okay,
if something doesn't work, just add an important and it should work.
okay. Well,
All
that's cool that we have the design section, because like if you're using CSS and you're doing, you know, anything, I mean, you can see it right there directly.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah, that's really nice.
All right, so we're gonna copy this one, which is the little details, and this is for the back button, right?
Yeah, not just for the back button. So it is partly for the back button, but we're also you see LB loader, this class.
Yes.
It's almost at the bottom. So that's the 3 dots that when the bot loads
Ah,
appear.
right. Yes.
It was so hard to find that class, but I found it.
But you found it?
I found it. So that one is the one you can change colors, or you can change the size of the loading dots.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the end of it.
And then message dates, which is the one you see on line 233.
Yeah.
That's to hide the timestamp.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna say display none.
All right, so let's hit apply
Is that all of
and
it?
yes.
Okay, wait. Sure?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's see.
So let's apply it.
Mhm.
Let's publish it.
How do you think you're gonna do
I
on a
think
scale of 1 to 10?
I think I'm gonna do a 15.
15.
Definitely a
15s.
15.
Max you can get is 9.5. Let's see. Well, we'll have to fix that too.
All right, so let's start. Hi there, I'm Landbot. Okay.
All
Hi.
right.
Ooh, okay.
I see some weird things, but okay.
What's your area of work? Oh, I like this.
I don't like it.
Let's
go back and change it. I don't like it.
What's wrong with it?
It's weird. I don't like the colors.
I like the colors. I think it looks cool. Especially because of the border, you know, it gives it like, oh, look at me.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But okay, anyways, we'll change it later.
Look, I'm trying to make you give me a very good score.
The Spanish keyboard.
Oh,
Alt. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I really like that.
Okay.
Nice.
So
very nice. Thank you,
I'll
Abby, for that. So what's
the border colors are my fault because I forgot to add that.
Okay, but I like them, so I give you a
I'll give you an 8.
Okay, so we're even.
Okay. But should we see the original one and just so we have an idea
absolutely.
of how it looks like
let's do that.
Yeah, we'll have to show it here. Actually, I think I already did, but so yeah, it looks a little bit different, but it's more put together, as you can see. So some of the things like this one I actually changed in the settings of the bot. So in the system messages, I changed them there.
Oh, okay.
That's why you don't see them in your bots.
Right.
But
but it's okay.
It's fine. And then this is what the buttons are supposed to look like.
I think mine look better, but okay.
Yeah,
we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. And then the email question. And yeah,
that's very nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
So I think that's it for the design. So maybe we should jump into the Q&A.
Yes, definitely. Let's do that.
Should we stop sharing maybe?
Yes.
Okay, let's select here. All right, let's see. Sorry, I have to leave. No worries. It'll all be recorded. So I'm not sure. Here we go to the Q&A. let's see. So Karen has asked us if these classes apply to V2 as well. So these classes are just for the V3 version. If you want to find the V2 classes, you just open the inspector like we did in the example. Do you
Right,
remember?
yes.
Do you remember how to do it?
The right click,
Okay.
and then we click on the, what is it? The
Inspect.
inspect, yes.
Yes. And then we select the selector,
Right, the selector.
and then you hover over, and then you can get the classes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Because right now we just have the classes for V3, although we have most of them for V3. So you should use V3 if you can.
Okay, definitely.
Right. Let's see. I saw a video bubble, which was super cool. How do you do that? Thanks. Claire Braff. Okay, Claire. So do you know how we do it? Do you know what she's talking about?
I saw a video bubble. It's super cool. Isn't that where we had an example where they're speaking or they're talking?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think, let me find it and then I'll share my screen again. So yeah, I think I found it. So let me just go to share my screen. I'll close this real quick and we'll show the example. All right, here we go. Yeah, so in this example, which is documented also, everything is documented. Let me just put this up here. So basically down here, we added GIF. And then I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but here we added a video in the welcome message.
Hey there, Nicholas from Landbot. We're very happy you're considering our
So
products.
thanks, Nicholas, for
feel free
reporting
to
this for
email
us.
us or answer this part if you have any questions, and we'll get to you right away. We're looking forward to chatting with you, so have a good day.
Yeah, and then when we press here on learn more,
Yeah.
there's a JavaScript function that's triggered, which removes all of the classes we added to make the video bubble long.
Oh,
So then it just goes back to being a normal bot.
nice. I like that.
Yeah, so I think the workaround is called video bubble chat.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
But in the help box, you'll see it. Yeah, let's go back to the questions. So why add importance? Steph?
I think this one's for you, but I think I learned a lot of
Did you?
CSS right now. This is to override so it's already defined the attribute.
Mhm.
So if we write important in the CSS, then it
Mhm.
would override whatever you're trying to
Exactly,
do.
yeah. But the only issue is when the developers have added important to the CSS already, which they shouldn't be doing, but sometimes they do it. I've seen it before. So you can't add two importance, like you can't override an important.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't think they do it very often, but I've seen it before. So unfortunately, you can't override it.
Good
but-
to know that.
And how do I change the pictures of the bot in the dashboard?
Yes.
Maybe
That's something. Yes.
you want to share your screen?
Yes,
Show us?
absolutely. This one. All right, so I think they're talking about the dashboard being
Yeah.
this, correct?
I think some of it's just
Yes.
this. I don't know if they can see it.
Thank you. And so we go to the design section. We go to the chat avatar and elements.
Okay.
So for instance, this is where you'll be able to change it from.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can choose from the ones that we have by default, or you can add your own image. Once you add your own image or you select one of these, you refresh your page. Well, first you apply,
Okay. Yeah.
publish,
Very important.
and you refresh your page, and then you'll be able to see it
Okay.
there.
And why would I want to see it in my homepage?
In your dashboard?
Yeah.
Because I think it's easier to know which bot it is, because sometimes you do have the name, but maybe you have various names. Maybe you
Yeah,
don't want to
okay.
use the same picture for the various names.
Okay.
Because sometimes, I've seen a lot of bots where they put, their name and then they do one or the
Like
name
version
two.
1, version 2.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
better if they have like different logos, maybe you can visualize them better
Okay. Yeah.
in your dashboard. And it's easier. I mean, it looks organized.
We also have folders too,
Yes, we do.
but some people don't like them. So, all right, let's see. I think we have more questions. All right. I have a bot. Can you rate it? I think we can, but maybe you can message us on intercom and we'll read it there.
Yes, definitely.
But human takeover, how does that work? If you can just explain how the human takeover block works.
Yes, so basically, but in what situation? Not sure if they're talking about the design section.
No, I don't think you can, there aren't many things you can change with the design of the human takeover. So maybe you can just explain in general. And then if it's a specific question about the design of the human takeover block, then feel free to write us and we'll help you out.
Yes, so for the human takeover function, no, but they're asking how does it apply?
No, but I think just in general. Well, it's okay. So yeah, I would recommend just writing us on intercom and then we'll answer any specific questions there. I think it's faster. Usually we reply within like 10 minutes. So it's pretty easy to get a response from us.
Super fast.
Okay. Let's see. In the chat, do we have anything else? Is it possible to hide the back button? Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, so let me show you actually where to find that. I think it will be easier if we just show everyone where everything is located. So I'm just going to share my screen again. So let's say I want to go to help, landbot.io. And I'm going to go to for developers and designers, CSS and customizations. And here you'll see like dynamic customizations, embed customizations, examples, but I think it's in components library.
Okay.
And then we'll go to miscellaneous classes. And then in the left, you'll see the back button.
Oh, nice.
And well, this is to always show it.
Okay.
So we're to always show it, we set the opacity to 1. But to always hide it, we put display none.
Okay.
And then it's just automatically
So it's just
hidden.
like the one we had with the lead gen template where we're hiding the timestamp, right?
Exactly.
That we put display
Yeah,
none.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that's it. We just put display none.
Okay, that's easy.
Cool. All right, let's see. How can I hide the Landbot branding of Made with Landbot inside of a bot? You can hide it, but you should write to us because it's a premium feature to hide it. So we can't really tell you how to hide it with CSS. Yeah. Yeah. So just write to us on intercom. If you're a premium customer, you just select hide.
Yes.
So you can
From the design section.
do you
Oh,
know how to
wait,
do it?
from the settings?
Can you show us maybe?
Yes.
If you can just exit out of here.
Let's exit and let's share screen.
Maybe, yeah.
Yes, here. And
So we want to go to the app maybe? So just app.landbot.io.
I think we had the,
I think we closed it.
okay.
You just, yeah, maybe here.
Yes.
All right.
Let me
Maybe we
just-
can hide that, yeah.
So we go to settings and it's right here.
Okay.
So in the general,
Mhm.
Landbot branding, and we hide it.
Perfect.
And don't forget to apply changes
Yes,
and
very
publish it.
important. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I think that's it. That's all of the questions. And yeah, for any specific questions, just feel free to message us on intercom. We'll respond right away.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think that's it for today. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
This will be this is recorded, so you can have a look back later if you need to.
Yes.
And yeah, that's it.
All right,
All
Abby.
right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks guys. Bye.
Bye.